think a lot of people have this idea when you have writer's block that you sit there and you just kind of, scratch your head and wait for the pencil to move. But, I always say get up, like go for a walk, go move around. It really does stimulate your brain in a different way.
Yeah, for me, a lot of times if I can't move physically, I'll use just meditation. It's the power of the breath, the power of oxygen, oxygen in, carbon dioxide out, and it helps the creative mind.
Yeah.
And dude, you are beyond creative. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an exclusive.
We got an exclusive.
This is a spot where people kind of get to know you a little bit better, right? I mean, you have so many fans already, they know a lot about you. But there's a couple in my age range that maybe might not know as much about you. But I'm going to surprise you, even though we've done the illusion and the workout. I'm going to go to the first question, and that is this. How do you stay in shape?
It's hard. So, in LA production, you get a lot of these 6 to 6 p.m. days. And so where do you find, we did the Road Warrior workout, you called it, right?
Yep.
I love that because, whether I'm traveling or I'm doing set work, like you can take a quick break during the lunch break, add that in. And now I think I will. But it's hard to stay fit. But for me, I picked up running, so it's something I can do at the top of the day or at the end of the day. And I live, out here by Calabasas where all these mountains are. And so once I moved out here, connected to a trailhead, kind of like you,
where I am,
you realize, trailhead there, I'm gonna go check out this path. And I just fell in love with being, it's running, but then it's in the outdoors, and that's even better.
Well, it's not surprising that you like to run, because as a cardiovascular type exercise, that type of a routine, much like the Road Warrior, because it's kind of constant, really stimulates brain cells, the norepinephrine, the dopamine, the serotonin, all that stuff, which really helps the creative mind. Yours is very creative.
Well, I always feel like I get, I'm not going out there for a run to get ideas, because I want to usually just kind of relax, but you get in this state of Zen, or, where you let these ideas can kind of pop into your head.
Cannonball! Hoop! Oh. Cannonball! Hoop! Oh.
And I always feel like I come out of the run, end on that trailhead with I gotta, leave a notebook there or something so I can write those down.
What age were you when you kind of created your first, and you were solo back in those days?
Yeah.
You were a one-man band, right?
Right, I had 3 younger sisters. They would help me, they were the actors and actresses in my films. But other than that, it was me, myself, and I, doing the sound, doing the film, everything.
Wow, man. And so, here's a question for you. When, what was your first play? Where did it end up? Like Facebook or YouTube or TikTok? Where did you hit when you launched your very first one?
Yeah.
What was it about, your very first?
Well, what's funny is
mini-movie?
My first mini-movie was, I was posting to Yahoo Video. And we always think about, nowadays, there's clearly front runners, YouTube, there's TikTok and Instagram. But that early on, it was AOL Video. Yahoo Video came out, and I would post on all those. There was other sites, Daily Motion, and as I would post on these sites, I remember a couple of my Yahoo videos took off. I got a couple 100,000 views. I think a couple got 1 million, and these were my high school movies with my sisters that I was posting out there. These little action films, these little scenes that were kind of fun. And then later on, though, I got my big break on YouTube, and that's where I built my first audience. And I had been a film student, and I was trying to put my work online and teach others online what I was learning. So I make these tutorials, much like you, teach workouts. Right. I was teaching how to edit. Literally, it was go up to, file, right clicks, add this special effect here and layer it this way, and going kind of through the nerdy tech specs of the software.
Right.
And just grew a slow, dedicated audience that wanted to know about filmmaking.
When you look back at all your accomplishments, and you got a lot of them, man. What is the one that really kind of stands out that you just go, wow, look at, a two-part question, which one's your favorite? It might not be the most popular, but which one really blew your mind? You were just surprised that it did as well as it did. So that's kind of a two-parter.
I was stoked to do, there's been so many cool projects, right, throughout the year, so many cool people that you meet. One of my favorites was, just because I was a fan of magic growing up, and following David Blaine's story, here and there as he was coming up as a magician.
Right.
I got to do a video with David Blaine, which was a really special experience because we just got to write this piece together, and it's a 2-minute video. It's a one take. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's nasty. David, gross. Is that a spider tarantula?
Yeah, this is Clyde.
Oh, hi, Clyde. Oh, So you just I need to up the fear factor of it?
Yeah, I was thinking something like that.
Okay, well, what if I take this little guy and put him up here?
Whoa, yeah.
You know, he's regurgitating like the tarantula in the beginning. I'm pulling out a frog out of my mouth, and it's a fun concept. So, you know, if you ever have David at your house, be careful because he'll just want to show you these tricks.
He'll want to put frogs.
He'll say, hey, Tony, you got to learn how to swallow a frog, you know. But you know, it's fun to work with people that you've watched, you know, years ago and kind of like grew up on it, and we're cheering up along the way.
Oh, that was question one. What was what was the one that you kind of blew your mind? Was it the one where you got 2 billion views? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, anything that gets, you know,
with the B.
2 billion views when you have a B behind it. Like my costume?
Yo, that's so cool. How are you doing that?
Got a Nimbus 2000.
Oh, I see.
Mirror.
Wait, is that my longboard?
Longboardium Leviosa!
Zach, my longboard! Come on, man, get back here! Dude, not cool.
That was unexpected. That one came about. I've been a fan of Harry Potter for many years. You know, read the whole book series. Yeah. And the part of Harry Potter that I always wished was real was Quidditch, which is when you get on a broomstick and you could fly around, and they play kind of like a version of soccer on the broomsticks. And my team and I were talking like, how would we pull that off? Because my style, we always would probably show how we were tricking the audience and like reveal it, and that would be part of the surprise.
Yeah.
So we figured out that there's a couple videos going around the internet actually of people using mirrors at a 45-degree angle and hiding behind them. And actually, it's an old stage trick. Yeah. Really. You know, Buster Keaton and Charlie Chaplin used to use this practically in their films to disappear. So we saw that and then realized if we, you know, mounted it and had it reversed with the pavement and it would look like disappearing. So we, you know, come around on the broomstick. I'm on a skateboard, and that's where he mounted the mirror. So it looks like I'm floating above. And then, yeah, it's crazy. We posted that, and you never know what's going to hit with the audience. But I think Harry Potter has such a big fan base.
Did you have an intuition though, like, hey, this is kind of unique and special, and no one's done this yet?
No.
We'll probably do pretty well. Maybe we'll get like, you know, 30 million or something.
Yeah, maybe we were thinking like, 20, 30 million, not,
right.
You know, 2 billion. But I remember we didn't know on that one if it would actually work, because sometimes we shoot these and they don't work at all. And we have to come back and shoot. Hopefully not with ours. I know ours worked. Oh, no. We saw it earlier, right? It worked.
Yeah. Looked pretty good.
But you never know. Like, there is that gamble of like, it just could be really difficult, or you didn't think about the techniques right. But no, that was one we walked away and got lucky with.
Man, so how quickly did it go from 0 to 2 billion?
I don't remember. I think it was probably within like 2 weeks. I remember the weekend it happened though. I was on a walk with my kids and I kept getting these notifications. And at the time, TikTok was only I could turn on notifications for a certain amount. So it was like every 100,000 followers, it would ping me. And I remember within a walk, it would go off every 30 seconds. It was like 100,000
every 30 seconds.
Every 30 seconds.
Think how many people are stationary, wherever they are around the world, sitting, standing.
That weekend, I think we got like 5 or 6 million followers in 24 hours or something like that.
Wow.
So that was from that one video.
How on the level of excitement, how exciting is that? Has it gotten to the point where it's sort of like, yeah, another million here, another, you know, 500 million there, or is it still, this is cool and this is fun?
Yeah, it's weird. The numbers, you always try to remind yourself that these are like real people. Hopefully they're real. Maybe they're all bots. Yeah. But hopefully they're real people.
Bots love you, I hear. Yes.
But you want to remember that they're real people for sure. And over the years, you get numb to it, right? And the numbers. But I remember that there's occasions where you're like, whoa, this is like 5-6 million people in a weekend. That's nuts. And it takes you back to those moments when you first, you know, maybe had your lucky breaks, when you know you remember those times when the energy was really high, and all of a sudden you look at the number, you're logging into whatever website sales or subscribers, and the numbers are just exponential. Because you know those numbers kind of always plateau again and have a logarithmic curve.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned film school. Now, doing some research, I found out that you got rejected.
Yep.
So that didn't seem to slow you down.
Yeah, you can't let it slow you down. The rejection was probably, I've never went back and asked the university why I got rejected, but I have a feeling it's because I always hated writing. which my essays I probably read the application, was like, why do I have to do an essay? Isn't it like submitting my film work because it's a film school?
Answers all of your questions about documentation and research. And what edition will we be using, class? It is right here on the board for you, class.
I probably wrote 2 sentences for the essay, and that's why they rejected me. But
Fools.
yeah, no, well, I ended up going back to the film school and sitting in the classes. And what I learned at the time, I don't know if you can still do this, but I went to it was a school called Biola. And so I still was in their other program for music, which allowed me to be on campus, but I went and sat in the film school.
So you just audited the classes?
Yeah, I audited the classes or sat in the, I still paid for them. I sat in the back, and I guess their system didn't say like, oh, not a film student, don't let him in. And by the end of the 4 years, I had all the credits, so they issued me the degree, and I walked away with that, yeah.
Well, very good. There you go. Yeah. So they rejected you, but you showed them a thing or two.
Yeah.
So you've created so many different kinds of tricks and videos. Do you remember them all? I mean, are they all sort of like that guy with the stuff in the stomach, or are there a few of them that? How many total can you say?
I don't know how many we've made between the trick-wise. We've done probably 10,000 tricks in videos.
10,000.
Maybe 5,000 separate videos. Some of those are probably commercials in there, but. We have a big list. I think what people don't realize is a list of failed videos, and that list grows bigger and bigger. So it's
ones
unpublished
videos. Ones you put out into the world.
No, ones we've never put out. Yeah.
Oh, so you shot them and you looked at them. We can't salvage them.
There's a lot that I put out there, and those are really fun. And there's the ones that never work, and those are the ones that you also never quite.
So you can't pre-calculate. You can get a general sense. You can get pretty close. And then you shoot it, and you cannot edit it so it's working the way you want.
It's not usually the editing that fails it. It's usually the story. You look at it, you're just like, oh, that's not funny. That's not interesting. That's not entertaining. Oh, the way you did that shot was boring. Sometimes we'll come back and revisit them, but other times they'll be completely dead. And those are the ones I always remember forever because I in the back of my brain, I think I always take a second, try to recalculate what was wrong with it, and want to someday redo it.
So, we were talking a little bit earlier about kind of the groove that you're in right now. You're having lots of success, right? A lot of these they're really short vignettes.
Yeah.
And, have you shot commercials for other companies? Have
Yeah.
they hired you to do that?
Yeah, we shoot commercials. We do, my team's a full production company.
What are some of the commercials you've done?
We do it like right now. If you watch an Amazon video online, like a commercial, you'll see my magic, and you can probably call it out and say like, that feels like they just ripped off Zach King, and that's because we did rip off ourselves. Yeah. We put our magic into that style. So we do all kinds of brands, and a lot of times, on YouTube now, they're looking to reach the younger demo, the TikTok demographic, and so they hire
my crowd.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So they hire the TikTokers like us to come direct and produce their stuff.
So. The other thing, too, is, as we were saying earlier, before we started chatting here, kind of that next step for you. You were sort of saying, I kind of like where I am. This is working really well. I'm really happy with this. But you think full feature-length films are in your future?
I think longer stories are definitely in my future. We're already, we do short films that get up to like 20 minutes, and that's super fun to do. And I used to be really angsty about I avoided going into feature films because it was like, I have to do 3 to 5 years on that project.
Right.
And right now, like you and I shot today, we're done. That'll be done in a couple of weeks. I'll move on to the next one. Hands are clean. And I like that pace, but I think I'm getting a point in my life where I want to sit. I'm itching to kind of someday sit down, and I could see it on the near horizon, wanting to spend 6 months to a year writing something and then going out and producing or directing or whatever the role I have in it. And it's hard to know, but I think I like taking its time, like maturing as a storyteller.
Like we were saying earlier, when a certain amount of things need to happen that haven't happened yet. Meeting a certain people or whatever it is. Circumstances will change, or there's an opportunity that you just say, oh my God, this is the one. You know what I mean?
It's like it's one of those big, like there's a ton of dots out there, and you're slowly connecting them. Kind of like figuring out what the picture is that you're doing, and then eventually you start, it's faster and faster, and
for me, one door closed, and then 4 opened up. You know what I mean? Actually, 12 opened up. I didn't have the bandwidth for 12, but thank God that I'm kind of a known individual. People knocked on my door and said, hey, how about supplements? Hey, do you want to work for Tonal? Do you want to do an online fitness program as opposed to what you've done in the past? So yeah, that's my wheelhouse. I'll go do that. And then from that, other things could happen. Who knows, right? Maybe the same thing for you. I've got here YouTube, Vine, Instagram, and now TikTok. Do you find that your work is evolving with each new platform? And which is your favorite? And which one of those is the most challenging?
Yeah, they're always evolving. And I don't think people realize how many platforms come and they go, that we've even, again, there's YouTube's a front runner, Instagram, we all know these TikToks and the story of Vine coming and going.
Is TikTok kind of the big bet,
It's
or is it YouTube?
It's the big one right now, but YouTube I think is the most important, the most, the one that if you really want a longevity in a career, I don't even know what I'd call my job, but in this world of
What is your job, Zach?
content creation,
There you go.
some sort of thing, I think others call it.
Sure.
But YouTube creator, that's where you could build a long-term audience. It's stuff like this. Your format where it's longer, this is where your true fans come and connect with you.
Right.
And that viewership. TikTok's awesome because it can give you a pop in, some virality or something like that. And sometimes it translates over to your other stuff, but really, I love doing the longer form YouTube. That is where you build an audience. And it's interesting to see, this wasn't a thing until 2005. I don't think making it a job was the real thing until 2008 when they started AdSense. So it's in the grand scheme of things really new to see these kind of independent creators. You usually had to have a studio. You needed to have a massive network behind you to make these. Even these big products now. Now you have people doing fitness on YouTube, and I think that's a fascinating space.
More
to watch,
competition. It's
to
lovely.
watch.
Go, man. So I don't even know if you know these numbers. They probably change by the half an hour. How many subscribers on YouTube right now?
13 million.
13. How many on Instagram?
24 million.
And what about TikTok?
TikTok's the biggest one platform with 60-something million.
60-something million.
Yeah.
On TikTok.
It's wild.
And TikTok, how long have you been on TikTok?
So I am an early adopter in everything in my life.
You see it and you go, we gotta go.
The day the iPhone came out, I stood in that line.
You did.
Yeah,
you were that guy.
For the first generation one.
Right.
Even though it cost me my entire high school savings. But I've been on that before it was even TikTok. It was an app called Musical.ly. And
oh, geez, wow.
Yeah, it was 5-6 years ago.
Wow.
But now it's the overnight success for everyone. It's TikTok. It sounds like it.
Right. Yeah, I kind of avoided TikTok. I'm the opposite of you.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to wait till this thing is something.
Yeah, wait till it's popular. But then, that's actually a good strategy. But it's sometimes a little too late. I like to get there a little early and be wrong.
So you've done very well. And I've always, I had a bunch of people at my house this week from all around the world, this Paragon event. And I've discovered, what really gets me excited is to be able to share what I know with other people. My purpose is to help other people find their purpose through healthy eating and regular exercise. Do you see yourself kind of in a coaching, mentor, teacher vibe? I mean, are you working with young filmmakers yet to kind of help them?
Yeah.
Are you just too busy, or where are you in
Yeah.
that?
No, I always think you have to make time for that. You're never gonna. People say like, oh, I'll do that later when we're ready. Same with giving. When I have enough money, then I'll be generous. And I feel like you always, it has to scale up with you as you go. So I've always been involved with filmmakers. We just did a scholarship thing where we had won a little bit of money. We ended up giving it away to some filmmakers to pay for their college and help their tuition. Because I remember being there, and tuition's super expensive.
Yeah.
But then on the flip, like what I love doing is having the smaller conversations off to the side. I'll go to these events where I meet other YouTubers or filmmakers that are coming up, and maybe watch my stuff 10 years ago, the tutorials, and we guide them, we talk to them, we tell them what's working, we share. If anyone ever asks me as a filmmaker, like any questions, we are totally open.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I'll run into somebody at an airport, or I'll have a short little, I'll do a speech or something at some large event with a couple thousand people or something. And I'll hear years later, man, you said this one thing at this event, or I saw this thing you did on Instagram, and that's all I needed to hear, and that sent me off.
Yep.
And you think, geez, I was just having a conversation in a podcast.
Yeah.
Who knew that would be so influential? So I love that. I just, being really open and, folks coming in and just kind of springing some questions at you, because that could seriously change the trajectory of their career
Yeah.
and how they do things.
That's cool. And the advice that I hear my audience tell me later, you know, in those stories where someone comes up and is like, hey, you said this, it's the, you know, I think a lot of people get scared with, you know, putting their work out there, getting it published, and they have this perfectionism of wanting to be perfect before ever, and you know, in those cases, they never launch it, they never post the thing, they never start the business.
Right.
And so I'm always telling them, like, you just have to put it out. And also, there's no pressure. You have 0 followers. You have nobody looking yet. You know, it's your mom or your friend.
I want to do this one thing for the first time, and I hope I get 1 million people to watch.
And it's not going to happen. It's just,
gonna
you know,
happen.
straight up, that's never going to happen.
Right.
It takes a lot of time, and I think
Right.
for you or for me, it looks like overnight successes to people. But then you backtrack them and you just say, let me walk you through the last 15 years of when I was just starting, you know, my YouTube channel. And it's a slow progression, but you have to start somewhere. You have to put it out.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier, the seasons change, your voice changes, your content changes, your style might changes, and that's a natural progression to follow.
What do you think it is about your content that makes it stand out amongst everything else that's out there? And I mean, everybody has their own unique audiences, and maybe you don't tap into everybody's audience, but you do have, you know, you have the world record, the Guinness Book of World Record for most views on one video, and you know, you don't get them in the tens of thousands. You get them in the automatically almost get. Would you say the vast majority of everything that you do is in the millions?
Yeah, a lot of things get a lot of views. You know, I always get frustrated when really successful people try to pinpoint what is the thing that works, because I think sometimes they're wrong.
Do you hate that question?
But here's my guess. So I'm saying I could be wrong.
I can tell you my perspective. Why.
I think it's because, and we see this in the numbers, the demographics, and the audience. It's very global, and that's a little rare for one person to have a totally split global audience because of the language barrier. But I think it's because they're really visual, that you can watch these things no sound. And you can play them the same almost for a kid and an adult, and they both get the humor. Sometimes there's different levels weaved in there, kind of like a Pixar movie. But I think it's because it's visual and you can literally watch it with the sound off, and that's why they do so well. If you look at stats for viewership on most of these platforms, 60% up to 70% don't watch it with the sound at all. You know, they're in, my demo, they're in the class. Right. And their teacher's teaching, and they're on Instagram or TikTok with sound completely muted. But if they can watch my videos muted, like, they can share them, they can understand them, and so I think that's one of the successes. I also think there's story elements. I think there's things that we tap into that in most cultures, you know, whether it's like ours is that we made is a perfect example. Like, in any culture, there's some sort of workout program. There's some sort of workout routine, and there's a lot of people who don't like to work out and would rather cheat that, and seeing somebody how they pulled that off, that's kind of relatable. Right. And so because it can tap into, you know, a lot of different cultures, I think it works in the story elements.
Well, you know, that's my short answer is going to be it's universally entertaining. Yeah. And because you don't need the sound, and then just the quality of the content. I don't think there's, you know, I mean, I'm not on the internet as much as other people, but you know, people are showing me some funny stuff, and it's entertaining, and people have wigs, and it's kind of cute, and whatever, and they're using voices. I mean, in my opinion, partly because of, you know, the long road that you've hauled, the amazing team that you've put together, the fact that you guys get together and brainstorm, and you're cranking out 2 a week, and you know, not to say that it's rote, but you know, you have such a high quality output week after week after week, and nobody else, I don't think anybody else can match that right now. I mean, honestly, and that's partly why I was super excited to meet you, because I mean, you know, in a way, you're kind of a one of a kind, man. You know, my new program, the Power of 4, is the same formula. Yeah. You know, it's different routines, different cast members, 25 workouts instead of 12, and same thing with our supplements. We really want to. Like, what is everybody else doing? Okay, what benefits do they provide? Great. What can we do that's a little bit unique, a little bit different, nobody's doing? And so they're playing catch up to us. And I get that same feeling when I watch your stuff. I think, oh my God, Zach is just doing. I mean, you could be in the South Pole, you can be in Africa, you can be in Ireland, you can be in Taiwan, and
Yep.
everyone's going to just kick back and love it. Man.
Yeah.
So, kudos to you, brother. It's really
Thank you.
spectacular work. It's a great pleasure to meet you, man. Thanks for hanging almost the whole day with me.
Dude, so
the
fun.
workout,
So
the,
fun.
The
What an honor.
illusion in this conversation. It's just really, man, it's a blessing.
Thank
brother.
you. Thanks, Tony.
I'm glad that you've really enjoyed this interview. I can tell because you're watching it, because I can see you. Anyway, since you're here, I know you're really going to fall madly in love with this next one. I mean, I'm talking about knowledge consumed by you. All you got to do is go right over there